How is up, everyone? It's your boy, Mitsuhide! And today, we're going to have an important discussion about a very important update in Dragalia Lost. See, though I have stopped playing for a few months, I can appreciate good things. Well, it also probably doesn't help that I got pinged about this kind of crap in Discord when I'm in the middle of sleeping and drooling over my face. At any rate, I'm glad that everyone's feedback has finally gotten through to Okada. See, when I make complaints about the game, it doesn't mean that I hate the game. I don't hate Dragalia Lost. In fact, I'm just giving feedback. And with reasoning. With a 1-hour video on top of that. I believe Cygames is great because they listen to such feedbacks. And as a result, today's update, I must praise everyone's effort. Thanks for everyone for having the courage to lobby complaints when something bad happens. No matter what happens, what everyone thinks about you, you made a complaint about the game. And they finally listened. I mean, listen, I have this guy spazzing out at me because, oh yeah, he thinks I quit because, oh, it's too hard for me. Son, I wrote the book on Master High Midgard Samar. My guide for that fight is still being used today. I quit the fight because I can't expect others to do the same for me in a public environment. It's just not possible. And this dude even had the audacity to say that I was lashing out at the game when I was praising it for having another dojin. I mean, this dude is just way out there with his anxiety attacks. But anyway, this update, my friends. This update. Let's talk about that. It alleviates much of the problems I was talking about. I suggested this revival update at the eve of my 1-hour Master High Midgard experience, as have others. The revival system, carding, for those who have played Monster Hunters. Now, this is an important change, this whole carding system. See, you have a quest thing where you'd be like, oh yeah, you have 2 revives on the map, and it's an important change because what happens with these fights isn't just because it's hard or hard to break into, but it's because you have to farm it right afterwards. So when someone makes a mistake, it's over. And if you don't have the DPS and you wipe, it's game over. It's a bit of a pain because you have to do this over and over again. It's the most frustrating aspect of this game. And if you don't have people to farm it with, or you can't commit the time to meet everyone's schedule who can farm it, you would have to give yourself up to the public pickup groups, which has a tendency to make these mistakes. Now, oh man, not only now you have revives after you die, but the important thing is that these revives are calculated separately for each player. Let's see. They're tracked separately for each player. So, what this means is that if someone screws up, you don't get punished for it. You'll still get a bonus reward tied to the number of times you've survived. So that means what people worry about is, oh yeah, soon someone dies, they leave. They won't do that right away. Maybe they'll wait and see what happens. Maybe you'll die again. But now, it's not so bad because we have an extended time period as well to do these fights. Instead of 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes. There's more time to do this fight. See, that right there, my friend, is especially important. See, what happens in Monster Hunter is that dying is shared between the entire team. So they made it even easier. Instead, where when you die 3 times, we all fail. Now, when someone dies, their corpse will just dry up on the wayside, while heroes such as myself will dance around the boss all day and get the kills in a most heroic fashion. Especially since we now, like we said, have 10 minutes to finish the fight as opposed to a mere 5. This is a huge change. Kind of like how I used to do things back in the day when I was, when the game was still new. Like that time when I was Maribel. And we're frozen too, there's no one left. Don't do this. Please get freed. Get freed. Oh. And, I was carrying the team to victory in the Imperial Onslaught. The water one. The one with all the logs when it was terrible. I scream excessively at all the pains I'm suffering while all the enemies are focused on me. And I finish the fight as a hero. As the last man standing. And these players that I'm playing with right now, at that time, they have all cleared Master Dragons. All of them. So they're by no means bad. It was just that it was harder back in the day. Anyway, so yeah, it was exhilarating. I was just dodging all the attacks. I was attacking the boss without being too worried about the DPS, while the rest of the team just looks on in awe as Maribel just goes around and blasts the enemies to death. So now, with double the time, I have a greater chance to show off something like this again. Oh, and I mean, it feels so good. But, okay, let's not get too carried away, though. So far, all I've seen is expert difficulty that is being affected by this. I don't see them talk about master or anything like that. And we'll skip the alliance thing. We'll get into this in a second. So, master has not been shown. Only the expert difficulty of this high dragon has been shown. So, I think that, as they said before, this feature will only apply in certain quests, and the number of times that can happen also varies from quest to quest. So my expectations is that this is done so that there are more people who get into the mid-entry level of the fights easier, namely standard, expert, while newer and harder content such as Masters and Agito probably will need a few more months before getting revives. Well, speaking of being able to reach mid-entry level easier, there's this official mentor program that we can now reward people for helping new players clear these fights. New players being those that have not cleared this fight before. Has not cleared it before. And it does not apply to prelude and master difficulties. So once again, this whole thing is about benefiting newer players, getting them into the mid or entry levels easier. But, well, it's alright, I guess. I mean, I get the idea, but something really troubles me about this. For one thing, what exactly is the incentive for doing this? What are the rewards? A couple wormites? Is it significant enough for others to take the time and look for someone who hasn't actually cleared and carry them through it? Second, how will you find these players? I mean, like, just how often would you be able to find new players? Well, I don't think that the game is dead. I also can't imagine our population growing all that fast either. So therefore, I think that this feature is alright, but it's limited. It's rather insignificant in our current climate. Maybe we can tweak it to help players who hasn't cleared during that first week or something like that, or just, just during a week, whenever, rather than, never ever cleared before. That would make it more sustainable if we just help people clear their weeklies. I think that's what it should be tweaked to, rather than completely new players, because I don't think we're getting that many completely new players, and I don't think that there are that many completely new players that are doing this as well. Honestly, focusing on new players is great, but we need a better catch. This game has gotten a year old now, and while the population is kind of like, it doesn't seem like it's going to grow that much. It will grow, but it won't grow that much, as opposed to when it was first released. So, I don't know. We should focus on new players, but we should also strive to make programs like these more sustainable. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so we also get some other quality of life stuff like stickers. Oh boy, I mean, these stickers are, they're alright, I guess. I point out where the bubbles are and such. But, I mean, I made a recommendation on Reddit a while back to have numbers as stickers, because, say, oh yeah, I'm going to Bubbles 1, I'm going to Bubbles 2, 3, 4, etc, etc. But now, I guess it's better than nothing. You just have to move to the right spot and tell them, oh yeah, I'm going to that right spot for stickers, and not have them confused for you to go into that spot or something. Meanwhile, there's also Not's help for the advanced dragon trials. Oh yeah, gather up, everyone will be safer together. That's great and all that, but Honestly, this huge-ass marker is more than enough to tell you what to do, and while I believe that Not's help is alright, the lack of master support doesn't really make this much of a big difference. Because you see these huge markers, whereas in Masters, you just get like Storm Strike that just appears under your ground, below you, and you don't even know what's happening, and then you die. Of course, after a little bit, you know what's happening, and of course, we also have people who make YouTube videos of such things, and talk about these things. So, Not's help is okay, but it's not that significant. So, ultimately, I think that while this update is great, it seems to just be balanced around newer players, with Master and Agito getting trickled down as time passes. As a result, I don't think it really fixes my problems in particular, but it is definitely a good thing for the more casual populace. See, for me, I probably still won't be coming back. First of all, I had skipped 2 to 3 months worth of stuff by now, yeah. And there were limited events too, like Mega Man, Dragon Yule, New Year's, not to mention I would have had to farm a Guido to catch up again. I just don't feel like it anymore. I still haven't forgiven them for wasting my ingots on tier 3 5-star weapons either. And with 6 stars weapons, things aren't going to fare much better, honestly. Second, the main problem I have with time spent on games still hasn't changed. Especially if Masters and Agito doesn't get the revival update. When I was playing Dragalia Lost before, it was 2018, so I had more time, and it felt like I was in a dream. When High Dragons came out without these recent updates, or rather, not just High Dragons, Expert High Dragons came out without these recent updates with the time attacks, and the Masters came out, the dreams that I had in the game was over. I realized that, oh, snap, I actually need to spend more time on this game now. And my lack of time had become more apparent to me. It was sad too because I had wanted to see Shell and Sethia's adventures, but there's just too much stuff for me to catch up on doing right now, and I have other things I want to do. That brings me to the last point. Third, since I had stopped, I had become susceptible to other games. At the end of the day, I have to remember, I'm a varied gamer. And getting tied down to an endless treadmills of new fights and new grinds and new things to learn just isn't my lifestyle anymore. It was when I was playing like all kinds of MMOs, but now I don't play MMOs anymore. And I don't want to do the same here again. So you can't also just tell me to take it casually either, because for one thing, it's not in my nature to take this casually, because it's like keeping me away from like the newest content. It's just not fun. And being a YouTuber, I can't just post outdated raid content. It doesn't work like that. Stories are fine, but gameplay, I would much prefer to be up to date. I mean, I guess I could grind to be up to date, but work. I suppose I could look for Living Like Log or someone like that to work together with, but honestly, I don't feel like bother other people for more of that as well. I feel bad when I had to do my masters before, and I had to be like, oh yeah, can you guys like take a little bit of time to do a run or two with me, you know, we get this done, you know. Yeah, I feel bad having to ask other people for that. And going to pugs, well, you know how that goes. Eventually I did manage to kill it clear in public, but it's just way too much effort for it. It's just kind of still the same. Unless we make these changes to Masters and Agito, it's just the same. So, unfortunately, this probably might be the last time I do analysis for Dragalia Lost, unless something really spectacular can bring me back into that dream state I have once again. Well, when I run out of that, like, 16k Wormite, that's when I have to say goodbye to this game. But anyway, I thank you all for watching. Maybe next time.